Support my content by becoming a patron on patreon.com/JaianMusic. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special. What did we call this, Kyo?
A Cowboy Bebop live action series news update.
Yes, that's what it is. For the unfamiliar people, GoProKyo and I, we did this exact same podcast format for the Death Note live action.
To crushing
2
disappointment,
years ago.
I might add.
Yeah. We don't even need to go back there. And we are reapplying this to Cowboy Bebop because it has been announced that Cowboy Bebop is going to receive a 10-episode live-action Netflix original series, and we are very excited for it, and we are going to be podcasting about it and updating you guys. So basically, the way these podcasts are going to work, they're going to come out on my YouTube channel and SoundCloud, not on iTunes or anything. This is not an anime podcasters, and whenever there's something to update you guys about, we will be releasing a podcast. We don't know how many episodes there are. It just depends how much news is out there. So before we get into this, Kyo,
we kind of just release
people,
whatever or however much we feel necessary.
Exactly.
It honestly depends on like how much information is coming out at the time. So and plus we don't have a definitive release date for this show yet, do we?
No, we don't.
Okay.
So it could.
So we'll probably
we
make
could be
just
podcasting
a few.
about
We'll
this all
probably just
summer.
make a few, and then we'll probably make like one more after this one. But then once we get a release date, we'll probably be dropping some more information as the months go by or so.
Yes. Before we jump into this, how are you? Let the people know how you been and everything. Quick update. How's Kyo?
I'm fine. I was just watching a movie that I had never heard of until recently called Rock and Roll. I don't know if you ever heard of that one. I would assume you have or not.
Rock and roll. No, I haven't actually.
Rock
I'm
and
not a big
Rule.
movie guy.
RULE.
Rock and rule.
Yeah.
Well, I rock and rule against that idea because I haven't.
Ah, man. Well, I was hoping you'd know because it's a Canadian animated movie.
Oh, well, you're Canadian, thus you should know about it. Enough! Let's get into this.
It's the new Anime
All right.
Podcasters episode.
No.
Next episode is going to be Rock and Roll, everybody.
No. So, let's get into this. I want to get into this.
Yeah, okay.
Cowboy
yeah.
Bebop.
All
It's
right,
on.
Cowboy
It's on
Bebop
IMDb.
Netflix series.
It's on IMDb. The creator is labeled as Hajime Yatate, and we have 4 confirmed cast characters that are going to be present for all 10 episodes.
Yeah.
We have John Cho as Spike Spiegel, which is essentially the only actor I knew beforehand. Obviously, Harold and Kumar.
Oh yeah. That's one of them. But like, he's been in a lot of stuff recently. Like, last really big movie he was in was one of the Star Trek movies.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, he was the Asian character, of course. He was Sulu. For those who don't know Star Trek.
I don't know Star Trek, so
I
Sulu
figured
it
you
is.
would need that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then we have Alex Hassel as Vicious.
Yeah.
Vicious is coming back. I'm very happy.
Yeah, I went
about
through
this.
all of these actors on IMDb, and I have no idea who most of these people are. Like, John Cho was obviously
okay.
one, but like everybody else seems to be like relatively new. Like, most of them have like less than 50 credits on their acting.
Which 50 credits is nothing to scoff at.
No,
I think,
it's not.
personally,
But like that's or like John has like maybe over 100 in his. Like, I don't remember his exact number, but he's got way more than 50 acting credits to his name.
I mean, I have 1 on IMDb, so 49 more, and I'm coming for you, Alex Hassel. Okay. Then we have Danielle Pineda as Faye Valentine. And then we have Mustafa Shakir as Jet Black. So let's get into John Cho here. So I knew him from Harold and Kumar, and then I kind of forgot about John's existence, honestly, after that movie. That's the only blip on the map for me. But obviously, like you said, played Sulu in Star Trek. What are your thoughts as John Cho being cast as our main character, really? Like the face of Bebop, as we said before, Spike Spiegel.
I don't mind it. It's just like it's weird that like the one character never specified to be Japanese is played by an Asian man. Like he's Spike has never been specified as being Japanese. I could have sworn that like in the last episode or I brought up that I heard that Spike was supposed to be Jewish, like in heritage.
Yes,
at
the
least.
last anime podcasters. Yes.
Yeah.
I think we've transcended when we've come to a time, which I'm happy to, that race doesn't really play that big of a factor or
It should
much of a
honestly
factor
it
in
shouldn't,
casting.
but like just the way that swapping race from like American to literally anything is easily accepted, but like if you do that in reverse, everybody gets pissed.
I don't understand. People aren't logical.
Yeah, I don't know. I
For
don't
me,
know.
John Cho.
I don't know. Just fans in general can be really weird, but I think he'll do just fine. Just like I haven't seen anything that I don't like him in. I think. Or he was in the show Hawaii Five-O for a long time. That's a show I don't really care for, but I think he did a really good job in Star Trek. Harold and Kumar, of course, but that's those are two very different roles, obviously. But I'm looking forward to see what his take on it is gonna be. He seems like a pretty decent fit. Like he's got a little bit of swagger to him, not quite as much as the actual character, I would say, but I think he'll be a decent enough fit for this interpretation of Cowboy Bebop.
I agree. My initial reaction was, "Oh, I haven't heard about him in a while," and then I was like, "This is a good place to start."
Yeah.
Like this made sense to me, and I wasn't. It wasn't a Nat Wolf situation where I was like, "What? What are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing?"
I have to disagree
right.
because like I thought that Nat Wolf would have been like a good choice. Like if they didn't give him that really weird like haircut and color that they did, I think he would have made a pretty decent light. But at the same time, it was at the same time, I'm almost wishing for that weird casting choice where it was going to be Zac Efron at one point.
Honestly, I would prefer that, but not to get too far down the Death Note rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I personally, I really felt like it was the right fit. I do think that John. Plus, this isn't that crazy of a series where there's only it's a mini series
No.
with 10 episodes. I think
He
this
hasn't
is
really
he
been
could fit the
in.
mold.
He hasn't really been in like a main role for a while. I don't think.
He's gonna be able to pull it off. I feel good.
Yeah,
about
I
this.
have confidence in him too. I think he'll be just fine.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Vicious here.
Okay.
Alex Hassel. Alex Hassel, born in 1980, known for Two Down in 2015, Suburbicon 2017, and Cold Mountain 2003.
Huh.
No idea who this is. Never heard of you in my life.
Never heard. I haven't heard of any of these movies or shows either. So like, you're not alone in that either.
So, the profile pic I'm seeing here, I this is completely a judgmental thing at this point. I don't know who this is. I'm not familiar with it. So honestly, my reaction for the other three is I'm open-minded about it. I think that to have this many credits and be on IMDb, you need to be talented. Thus, I feel good about it. I kind of feel just good about everything. I think that Alex will be able to pull this off because Alex seems like a talented actor, and Vicious is a very obviously sick and twisted individual. So will Alex be able to pull this off? I think so because I'm looking at these credits that he's done, and it seems like he has experience with a bit of an evil side. So I think this is gonna be able to do it.
Okay.
Any thoughts?
Honestly, like just looking at him, I think, honestly, like at this point, the only thing we can go off of is just appearance. So I think he'll fit just fine. In terms of his acting, I don't know him well enough to give my honest thoughts on him. I would just have to say appearance-wise, I think they made a good choice. I'm just hoping that they make something with I'm just hoping they make some kind of like good makeup that makes him recognizable, but the only problem I foresee is probably the white hair, because Vicious had white hair, and like that's a very anime specific kind of thing that they tend to do in terms of design.
I think it's totally fixable in post.
Yeah. It might.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I'm thinking. Yeah. I'm honestly, what I'm thinking is more so like maybe if they put like actual makeup on him, like if they gave him like a white wig to wear or something like that, I wouldn't mind that.
Fair enough. I mean, physical attributes to me are important, but are not that important.
Well, if it's live action, it makes a big difference in terms of.
It does. You're right. I think you're right.
Appearance.
And plus, you're the more visual of the two of us. So I'd have to take your opinion and more importantly than mine. So if you think it's that big of a deal, I will.
I don't have any
support
problem
that
with
claim.
how he looks. I think he looks fine. I think he'll be a good fit for his role in terms of appearance, but like quite frankly, since I don't know any of his actual acting credit or anything that he's been in, I can't really give a fair assessment of him, so I feel like I'll have to skip over the rest of these characters. I mean, I honestly
Okay,
don't
well,
know.
I did want to talk about the last two.
Yeah,
I
we
still have opinions.
absolutely
Even though-
can. Do you want to go move on to Faye real quick?
Yes, Daniela Pineda, born February 20th, 1987. The only acting role I recognize her from is The Vampire Diaries. She played Sophie Devereaux. I haven't watched it. I just know the name.
Yeah, of
so,
course.
and that and Jurassic World also is what I'm saying. So those are two very well received productions. And so I'm okay with this. I think this is gonna be another good one. Plus, she seems to be able to play the badass queen role, which is definitely a side that Faye had to her.
Yeah.
So I feel like there is already some connective tissue between the two. These two, the character and the actress. Also, when I'm thinking about it as a casting perspective, I have very little experience in casting, but I feel like I can see the connective tissue. I can see the logic between selecting her over others.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with this as well. I think this is gonna be another good one. I don't think, honestly, like. I think it's kind of foolish to be against this idea of them being cast because you have professionals behind this.
Yeah.
You have Watanabe as a creative director on this. Like, we're going to get into that point more. This has going to have his mark on it. So, honestly, like, let's do this kind of thing. Any thoughts on Daniela Keo?
She definitely is a very fitting, like, live action version of Faye. It's pretty obvious. Like, if you guys look on we'll leave a link to the IMDb page in the description for you guys to take a look for yourselves. But quite frankly, I think physically she's very much going to work perfectly fine as Faye.
Same. I feel good about this.
I didn't see Jurassic.
then,
I didn't see the new Jurassic World movie because I heard it was garbage. But still, you know, whatever.
I saw it being well received, but I mean, I guess different perspectives.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
And yeah, finally, our final character that we have confirmed for Jet Black, Spike's best friend in the whole wide world, Mustafa Shakir. Never heard of Mustafa Shakir. Don't recognize any of the titles that Mustafa is from.
Is he related to Tupac?
I don't know if he has any relation to Tupac.
They have the same last name. I'm just making a guess, honestly.
Possibly not. I mean, I'm looking at this. Mustafa has been quite active. First role ever in 1996. This person's been doing this for past 26 over 20 years.
Yeah, about.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
So I feel like these are not like these are kind of seasoned veterans here. I feel good about this pick as well. I know it's very hard to give a definite opinion and something very objective that's gonna be accurate when you don't have all the information and you're not familiar. But off of the little specks of information around me, I don't feel bothered.
Yeah.
That's my sentiment right now. Any thoughts, Kyo?
The only problem I can see anyone possibly having is the whole, like, same issue people were having with Elle when they were announcing that it's going to be played by a black actor. Quite frankly, I don't care, and I also can actually kind of see that making sense. Just because, like, Jet kind of had that sort of, I guess the word is aura around him. He kind of had that feeling that he has that kind of tough black dude persona going about him.
I think it's more of a seriousness thing. Like, I'm looking at Mustafa and I'm looking at like headshots here. He looks very serious and like wants to get the job done and like responsible.
Yeah.
That's like the vibe I'm getting, which are all qualities are within Jet's aura. So I see the point you're making. I would have to agree. So that's essentially the cast that we have so far. Obviously, there's more. There's a full cast thing think. Is there anything else
I
here?
think there's only the 4 of them announced so far.
Yeah, we have the producers listed on IMDb. We have the series art direction, and we have the casting by Deborah Zane. All right, so yeah, we still don't know who's playing Ed. Do you think Ed is gonna be in this?
I really
Ed does
hope
come
so.
later on.
Yeah,
You see what I
think
mean?
Yeah, I really do. I do want to see her in there. It's just like my one concern with that is like whether or not if they've cut her from the show just because of like some people don't like her or whatever, or they feel like maybe they want to go for a quote unquote darker tone. I don't think that they would have to. I don't feel like they would have to do that. I think they would just have to be good at their writing job, honestly, because they still worked Ed in no matter or like regardless of how standout she is from the rest of the characters.
Right. I feel like if you're gonna do a Bebop live action, you're gonna have 10 episodes. Like Ed needs to be mentioned at the very least. I want Ed to be there, but if the main character is already released,
like direct adaptation of like just like redo some episodes just in live action, which like quite frankly that sort of thing sounds disrespectful in a sense because it's like trying to jump over or take over what had already been seen as like really masterful. And then replacing it with a live action version because like some people don't like animation.
I do remember this. I've read it somewhere. I could be wrong, but I do remember these 10 episodes covering like essentially the entirety of the series. For like episode 1 is covers like the first 4 episodes of the anime. I remember the the condensed and concise these episodes. So I do think like there's gonna be some sort of Jet appearance. I just think that the Ed appearance. Sorry, I just think that Ed's gonna be not as mentioned here. The other thing is I feel like these are like gonna be the 4 main characters. So it's gonna be more of a secondary role if Ed does come in.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to this next article from Forbes. On April 5th, we had an article saying John Cho has been cast as Spike Spiegel in the upcoming live-action adaptation of Cowboy Bebop. So it does talk about how we already have the 4 actors. And the opinion here states the casting for this looks like it could be good, and there is some interesting choices. Reflecting the opinion we said, echoing our opinion that John Cho is a good choice, and he's like an accomplished actor. New piece of information here. We have Alex Garcia Lopez that is going to direct the first 2 out of the 10 episodes, and then planned and Chris Yacht wrote the script for the first episode. So it seems like the staff here, the directing and the scripting is handled by multiple people. I don't know why, but to me, script was always handled by a single person, and like the directing by a single person. As someone who's more into the cinema field, what's your thoughts on multiple directors for different episodes and multiple scripting for different episodes? Is that better? Is that worse? Like, what's the pros and cons at play?
It depends because like some shows, because sometimes it's hard to like have just one person sit down and do all the writing for like 10 episodes, and that comes out to like hundreds and hundreds of pages of story writing and such, and and if they're planning on like 10 episodes, they're probably gonna want like different people just so they can probably get it done quicker. The big issue that can happen on occasion is like if the directors are different. Sometimes directors on teams will disagree with some things, and as long as these guys are all fans of the show and know what they're actually like what they should and shouldn't be doing with this, I think they'll be fine. But the only real concern would be like if one episode is directed by one guy and then another guy, like maybe the 2 episodes don't mesh very well in terms of style and tone, like maybe they don't come across very well, like they won't mesh very well together. Sometimes that happens, but you'll find that there's a lot of quality control in these kinds of projects. So I wouldn't be too worried about the like the multiple staff members that are working on different parts of the production.
Right. And I'm looking at Alex Garcia's IMDb as well as Christopher's. Alex Garcia worked on Daredevil that was on Netflix and The Punisher. He directed both of those, and those are
Those
great,
are pretty
great titles.
Yeah, those are pretty well respected shows. Like especially Daredevil. If he can pull off, or if people were pretty happy with Daredevil, and if he can pull off the same work that he did on Daredevil, if he can channel some of that into Cowboy Bebop, I think it'll be pretty good, actually.
I am. This is getting me even more excited. And then we have Christopher here, who's worked on Thor Ragnarok as a writer.
Oh.
Great movie. This is good.
Yeah,
these are
very good.
gems, Kyo. We are talking about gems here.
Yeah.
So I am very happy with this, and I really want to go to the. This is the perfect segue to the next article I wanted to talk about. All of these articles obviously going to be linked in the YouTube and SoundCloud description for the podcast. Coming from Pajiba.com. Never heard of this site before, but
right.
Let's go for it. The article titled 20 Years Since Its Finale, Cowboy Bebop, It's Still Defining Pop Culture. First, initial thoughts on this title. Is this clickbait or is this accurate?
Honestly, I want to say yes, but like until I actually hear more from the article, I can't give you a true answer on that.
Fair enough. This article, a very thorough article, really talks about obviously talking about the casting. The American studios and producers have tried working on Watanabe series before, and it's not been the best. Then we have just really stating the fact that it's been 20 years and this is making a return, and how Cowboy Bebop is triumphant and so well received, which is like almost 3 decades, which is insane. Any thoughts here on these statements and on this article, Kyo?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know exactly what that has to do with the show. Maybe they're talking about how like even after all these years, there's still there's still an interest in Cowboy Bebop in general, and honestly, I have to agree. I think Cowboy Bebop is still just as strong then as it is now.
No, definitely. I think that what this other article points out, that's an interesting point to bring up. Like, this is Cowboy Bebop is still a sci-fi esque series, and sci-fi is just a genre that's so cool to me, and it just reminded me that like you need that sci-fi element if you're gonna do a live action, because sci-fi is such a big genre that has many popular titles and like has large groups of fans. This is how do you think the sci-fi aspect could be handled by the live action production?
I can only hope that they like use like actual sets when they're working on this, because the only real big problem that I can see being a concern would be like if they're doing like a fully 3D background or something like that, just to like kind of save a little bit of money. I really hope to see like some practical effects in terms of live action, because people who like sci-fi have a tendency to, or like let's just say Star Wars, for example. Some of the newer Star Wars movies are leaning more towards excuse me, are leaning more towards doing more practical as opposed to digital effects, because like it's been or like a big part of Star Wars in the early days was the fact that very few things were being worked in digital, and it was all practical effects. So I think that's that is one thing that I want to see utilized, is like using real locations, taking advantage of just the fact that like you are in a futuristic world, and the creativity, or the amount of creativity that can go into this with like just how the world has changed, and like what the future would look like, because back when this was made, the only thing that doesn't age very well in Cowboy Bebop is the episode where they find the old VHS tape.
Oh my god, I remember
Dude,
this.
it was like they also were like, oh yeah, it's Betamax and VHS, and I'm like, oh my god, I remember Betamax. That was like one of the biggest, that was the most distracting parts of the episode to me, was like that they had to find like a VHS tape or a VHS player, and then they found out it was a Betamax player, so it wasn't gonna fit. But
It was I like that episode.
It is
Personally,
a
it
good
was corny, but
episode.
I
Like
liked
I
it.
think it holds up for me because I remember VHS, but nowadays like if say like a kid who was born in 2000 had never seen Cowboy Bebop and then saw that episode, they're like, "What the hell is a Betamax or a VHS?" Or somebody who's like
No,
alive
totally,
today
totally.
and it's just like, "What is a Betamax?"
I wanted to highlight this. The article goes on to talk about Yoko Kano and how her music in Cowboy Bebop is great.
Oh yeah.
Yoko Kano is not listed as the musical composer for this.
I can only hope.
I don't think there is one yet.
Yeah, I can only hope that they get
Yes,
like a jazz band to do like most of the score or something like that.
I can only hope they get Yoko Kano to do this. The last anime work she's done for Watanabe was my favorite anime series, Zenki no Terror, and that was
Right.
back in 2014. So it's been 5 years now since Yoko Kano and Watanabe have collaborated on something. As that's all, like from what I know, at least.
Do you think
If
they'll
you're
just,
listening
do you
to
think
this
that they'll
and you're
just
working
use,
on
do you personally think that they'll just like reuse some of the soundtrack from the original show or what?
They could, but I would love just a like a remastered version or a new score. Just I would love some Yoko Kano remade things. That would be amazing to me. If you're listening to this, I really hope Yoko Kano is involved. Like, if you're working on this production and you come across this podcast some way, somehow, somewhere, get Yoko Kano on that. Like, you need to. She's beyond talented, Kyo.
Yeah.
She's amazing. I as a musician, I wish I had as much talent as her. She's amazing. But yeah, I would if they had like previous soundtracks. Like I really hope they put Greenbird in there.
I'm
I can
really
only
hoping
hope.
for Tank to come back in there, like maybe heck, like just even a remix version of Tank as the opening would be a really nice.
Dubstep drop.
Fucking
no. If they bring
no.
If they do that, oh no, it's sci-fi, guys.
I'm gonna lose hope in. I'm gonna lose hope in the art of film and period if they pull that shit.
Next article.
I'm done thinking about
Okay,
dubstep.
we only have two more. Yeah, that was a great transition. No, but seriously, we had a quick article from the anime section of comicbook.com. Shout out comicbook.com. Thank you for that article on my Death Note cover. You could feel free to write any more articles about me because it really was appreciated. John Cho replied to a tweet here from Variety saying Cowboy Bebop, John Cho, Mustafa Shakir among forecasts in Netflix live action. And then John Cho just quoted that tweet and just had an emoji of a yelling person and the popping of a wine bottle, which honestly I liked because who needs words anymore when we have emojis, Kyo? Any thoughts on this all this very complex and well thought out tweet?
I hope he's having fun. I don't know, man.
The last thing I want is like the stupid that no live action. Remember that Ryu Twitter account?
Oh wait, was that a thing? Oh wait, that's right, that was a thing.
I really don't want that. For the Cowboy Bebop live action. I don't want like a Spike Spiegel verified emoji tweeting retweeting John Cho account. No thank you. No. Like stop trying to relate to us that hard. Yeah. I just think he's excited for this and he's just having fun with it, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. Any other thoughts or should we go to our last article?
Let's move on.
All right. So Screen Rant came out with this article on April 9th saying everything we know so far about Netflix's Cowboy Bebop. A lot of the points have been discussed. John Cho as Spike Spiegel, the series being 10 episodes, Mustafa, Daniela, Alex Hassel, Christopher for the scripting. But one last point I want to talk about is Watanabe. He's going to be a part of this. He's going to serve as a creative consultant on the live action. What do you think about this? I think this is refreshing for the fan base. Like, this is a great piece of information.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it works out just fine. The big issue that is concerning me is like there was a similar instance of this where the original creator of this content was the last film that I can think of in memory right now is the new Hellboy remake that came out last week.
Right?
They got the original writer for the Hellboy comic book series, and when the movie came out, what was really a big issue was the fact that it changed the Hellboy character so drastically that it didn't work right. And on top of that, the next part that was an issue was surprisingly the story was not very well thought out. It was very it branched off in different directions, but never could pick a specific. It couldn't focus on one thing at a time. It was giving us like 4 or 5 different storylines to go after, but it didn't give any.
Too sporadic.
Yeah, it was very sporadic.
It was
so
too
like
all
that
over
was
the place.
the big issue that going on with that movie, and I don't know what exactly happened there because like it all the right pieces were in place. Like they had a good actor for Hellboy, they had the creator of the series as a creative consultant, and somehow it didn't come together. I don't know why, but I'm really hoping we don't have that similar situation happen with the Netflix series, because like the only reason I can think of where that would happen is if maybe the Netflix executives are giving or like they have certain things that they want the team to do, because sometimes they have specific requirements that you have to meet for like a board of directors or producers and such. That's not always the case, but maybe in Netflix, maybe with in the case of Netflix, it won't be as big a deal because they're pretty open with like what letting people do what they want with their movies, which was kind of why Death Note failed so much, because they were given too much freedom and not enough restriction. Honestly, I can't see too much being a real issue as long as the original creator is back on, and the creator has been doing some really good stuff. Like, for example, we did that podcast on Zankyo no Terror, and I thought that was a really well-made show, and I didn't really have any problems with it. It was just personally not my cup of tea, but I still recognized it as being a really well put together series.
No, definitely. I'm excited for this. Altogether,
yeah, definitely.
These are, I think if there's one word to describe all this, like promising. It is very
promising. And like all we can really do at this point, like this is the same situation we were in when we first heard about the Death Note movie coming out. We can only speculate and we can only hope that it comes out really well.
Exactly. I think we should get to our 2 audience questions we have right now.
I love this segment.
So let's start. Cool. Yes, of course. And if you have questions you want to ask us, and we'll answer on the next podcast, leave them in the comments or just on YouTube or SoundCloud, whatever you prefer.
Don't forget to
so the first
quick plug for you guys. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We have a Anime Podcasters Facebook page, and we should have a Twitter page soon. If you know what.
For Anime Podcasters?
Yeah.
You want to? I'm not making that.
If
you want to make one,
at the very least, guys, just follow Jaian on Twitter. If he puts out a question or like a poll or a question or whatever, we'll definitely read them out on the
that's
podcast.
way easier, because on Facebook it's easier to manage pages. Like Twitter, I have to sign in, sign back out. It sounds so lazy, but really, like it's Anyways, first question on Twitter from at RubyFire377, asking, is Spike going to have his poofy hair?
I can only hope.
John, start growing that hair, buddy.
They either let him grow that hair out, or they better have a damn good makeup artist.
Or just post-production, I'm just going to give him a bit of hair over here. I'm just going to They're like just drawing him with the, oh, my daughter, she's in the 6th grade. She's great at drawing hair. CGI hair.
Do you like the thing they did in the Justice League movie where they rotoscoped out the mustache on Superman? Except they put the hair back on.
Even better, they start the first episode with him being bald, and like throughout the episodes, it gets puffier and puffier, but it's all CGI.
The hair from episode 1, and then by the 10th episode, he gets the actual hair, and then everybody is finally calmed down and happy. But then
full beard,
he like
he goes just like.
Oh my god.
That would be the best.
Oh, that'd be so bad, but I want that to be the real. I want that to be real.
All right. Let's get to the second
Yeah,
question.
please.
The second and last question from James Sadler. Two questions actually in this one question. First one was, how closely are they sticking to the story? I think they're gonna stick pretty closely to the storyline with Watanabe being involved.
Didn't you say that a couple of the episodes were going to be directly ripped from the show?
I think they're gonna take the episodes and just like condense like the key points in, and like boom, boom. It's a mini series, right? So mini series speaks to condensed. Get to the meat. Get to the big good parts. Get to the spaceship battles.
Yeah.
Get to the struggle. You know what I mean? Vicious is there, so obviously we're gonna have that scene with the grenade and boom, and then Green Bird coming down. Like that kind of stuff is gonna be in there for sure. That's what I think. Any thoughts?
I think ultimately they're gonna they're probably gonna do their own thing. Quite frankly, they kind of did something similar with Death Note out, but I'm all for like doing new things with the show, because quite frankly I feel like if they do some newer stuff, it'll make it a lot more easier for people to kind of get into it without feeling like they have to go back and watch the original to like really understand what's going on.
Right. No, I see what you mean. Kyo, are they going to change any major details of the story?
That's more of a question for like a producer or something, because I have no idea.
Well, obviously, Kyo, you are on the IMDb the credits list. I mean, we all know you are actually. Sorry, Kyo. Sorry. All right, Kyo, just spill any sort of tea, please.
Ed is a year older than she was in the original show.
All right, that's the major change they're gonna make. No, but in all seriousness, we don't know yet, because obviously this is all a speculative level. We'll find out more. I hope they don't. If they do change it, I'm open to change. I don't want just like crazy change where you're like, wait, what show was this?
As long as it's recognizable, I think it'll be fine.
No, exactly. I agree with that. All right, Kyo, that was everything we had. Any final thoughts / plug your stuff?
I'm really hoping for this one. Like, I was obviously wrong about the last movie, like I said several times. But anyway,
and I was completely right.
You were excited for Death Note.
But I was excited for Death Note. I wasn't excited for a big pile of you know what, which is getting a second movie, by the way.
Christ, I forgot about that.
Get ready for another podcast series.
Let's not.
Oh no, I just to trigger you.
I don't want it.
Oh, but you do.
No. Maybe if Willem Dafoe comes back, then maybe I will.
Okay, I'll personally invite him on the podcast.
Willem Dafoe on the podcast.
That's what you meant. That's what you meant.
All I would really say to him is just I would just make Spider-Man 1 jokes at him. I would just tease him with his Green Goblin role. Anyway,
was that a sharp joke? Okay,
yeah.
No, go ahead.
Anyway, if you guys want to catch up with me, you guys can find me on Twitter. I'm currently working on my new website. That's why I'm not really posting at all as of late. Pretty soon I'm going to be getting back into doing those speed paints / movie reviews. Hopefully you guys are excited to see those as much as I am. I got some new programs set up, and I'm just kind of getting back into the swing of making YouTube videos and such. So yeah, if you guys want to keep up to date with that, just check me on Twitter, and I'm gonna turn the floor over to Jaian before we close this out.
Yes, at GoProKyo is your Twitter. They need to know the Twitter. You gotta say your at Kyo. That's like podcasting plugging rules 101.
At GoProKyo. Cool.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. You sound so enthusiastic. Okay. In all seriousness, for myself, my Twitter is at JaianMusic. Talking about the redesigning websites, I have redesigned JaianMusic.com. I have added a live chat. I made a whole list of new things on the website. Let me just grab it and put. So, updated my portfolio. There's new rates, a live chat, updated the about section and updated the side project section. If you scroll down, you'll actually see in side projects I wrote all about anime podcasters and the background and the story of it. So you can go check that out. If you enjoyed this podcast and want more anime discussions, check out Anime Podcasters. It's also on my channel and SoundCloud, so you can just follow those, and you will be notified when a new episode comes out. Anime Podcasters also on Facebook, facebook.com/anime podcasters. And if you enjoy these, please check out. I'm gonna be doing more Cowboy Bebop covers. I'm working on a tank cover and a green bird cover. I already did that one. I have these different Cowboy Bebop covers that are in the works, just because obviously the live action is coming out, so I want to make some Cowboy Bebop content. That's going to be everything for myself, and you can also expect Kyo and I are working on an original series, which I actually want to talk to you about after the podcast, Kyo. That's going to be everything. Thank you so much, Kyo, for coming on, and we will see you in the next news update podcast for this live action whenever good stuff comes out. So if you see anything good that's worth talking about, like, tweet it at us. Let us know in the comments. Anything at all. It's always appreciated. Give the video a like, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys. Cowboys. Oh, I love that line.